There was a woman who was faced with a whole lot of debt. A certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Elisha, saying, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know," she's talking to the prophet Elisha, "and you know your servant feared the Lord," talking about her husband. "Now the creditor is coming. My husband's dead. If that's not bad enough, the creditor is coming to take my 2 sons to be his slaves." Now back then, and you think getting your house, getting evicted from your house is bad. You think getting your car repossessed is something. Back in those days, they'd come after your kids if you couldn't pay. I bet you there's some folks today, if they came after their car, if they could give their kids away, they could say, "Hey, you know what? I got a 14-year-old over here. Don't take my car, but you can take this one right here." No, but there's probably some people that may want to consider that. Not godly people, though. All right. But isn't that something, though? They came after her kids, her 2 sons. Now, watch this. Elisha said to her, "So, what shall I do for you?" The prophet says, "Tell me, what do you have in your house?" And she said, "Your maidservant has nothing here but a jar of oil." That's all she had. Now, verse 3, then he said, "Go borrow vessels from everywhere." Do what? Go borrow vessels from where? Everywhere. In other words, go get every vessel that you can find. Go to your neighbors, from all your neighbors, get empty vessels. Now, this next statement is very important. What does it say? Do not gather just a few. Hold that in your mind. Boy, see, what the prophet is telling her to do is expand her capacity. And when you have come in, you shall shut the door behind you and your sons, then pour it, that little jar of oil, pour it into all those vessels, and then set aside the full ones. So she went from him, shut the door, just like the prophet said, shut the door behind her and her sons, who brought the vessels to her. And she poured it out. She took that little jar of oil. Imagine some big vessels here. She started pouring into these vessels that they got from everywhere. Remember, he said, don't gather a few. Now watch this. Now it came to pass when the vessels were what? She filled all the vessels that her sons brought her. And then she said, bring me another vessel. And he said to her, there is not another vessel. So the oil ceased. Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, go, sell the oil, pay off your debt, you and your sons live on the rest. There was overflow for them to live on. Now, here's what I want you to see. Here's the moral of the story. God didn't determine how much increase she would receive. God didn't determine how much oil she had. She determined how much oil she would have. She told her sons, bring me another one. If they kept having more vessels, she would still be pouring today.